Good morning. I'm so glad to give a demo on the execution of our, and this framework has been developed in just 4 days time using Selenium tool. Part of the execution we have considered the flight booking application for automation, in which we have considered 3 scenarios. One is booking one-way flight, booking a round-trip flight, and booking a one-way trip for around 5 cities in order to demonstrate the batch processing requirement. Okay, right now the data you are seeing here are automatically generated during runtime for first name, last name, and the credit card number. All are generated in runtime with the random data. Whereas in the case of street name, city name are kept in enumerated data type, and we generate a random number by specifying a maximum, minimum limit, and maximum limit based on the number of cities or number of streets we have. So based on the random number generated, it will pick up the corresponding sample city or sample street from the enumeration data type. So for this kind of a scenario, if you look at it, mostly all automation testers will be passing all the data from the Excel file. It is not necessary for us. We are just checking the functionality. So it is necessary to pass only the data that is required for testing the functionality of the application. We don't need to pass the entire data from an Excel file. Most of the data, 70 to 80% of data should be generated by the framework in runtime, and it should reduce the scope of passing test data from an Excel file. So this is the approach we have followed. With respect to architecture, it's a kind of a layered architecture. We have got a test script layer that completely replicates the manual test cases with suits, test scripts, test strips. It's almost similar to our manual test case document. So by going through the test scripts written in Java, anyone can easily understand, or BS can understand, or a project manager or automation lead can understand what test cases are being automated by the automation tester. Okay, this is our framework architecture. In the case, why we have gone for this type of strategy is it's mostly different from the PDP frameworks I handled in the past. Because Java is an object-oriented approach, and it enables the scope for having a layered approach. So each layer, test script layer, replicates the manual test cases completely. Here, test suite. Test suite, from here we call set of scenarios, scenario 1, 2, 3. All the scenario files are pointing to a single step file. The step file is common for the whole application. Suppose if you are automating another application, you need to replace the test step file. It will have complete implementation for all the screens. For all the screens. In the test scenario, for implementing a scenario, we need set of modules, right? In the test suite has got a set of scenarios. For implementing set of scenarios, we have a test scenario file in which we mention all the modules. Each and every module is broken down into multiple steps in the step file. So we call it as a step file. So now how are we doing the automation in the case of pages? For each page, each application, for each screen in the application, we have a separate class file which implements its own methods for each and every field, as well as it also defines object data or object name of the field within the page itself. If you are passing any default value and if it is not required to pass from an external file, we can very well set it here and we can use it. Also, if it requires the data to be generated from a data layer, or it needs to be read from an Excel file, contact data layer. It will interface to Excel, text or CSV or even a database, and it will fetch the data and it will return back to page. Data layer can also return a default setting values, and also it, through random data generation, can return values too. It generates the test log too. So this is a simple approach. Now if you look at it, what are my reusable strategies? What components I can reuse? See, the features of the framework is layered architecture, defines functions for each layer. Architecture increases reusability. We are going to see in the next slide what models are there for our reusable strategies. And test script layer replicates manual test cases, hence tracking and maintenance of automation scripts is very simple. And page script layer defines the automation script for each page of the application. So if something goes wrong, In an execution, we should go to the corresponding page to look at it. What is the problem? Each page can be reused by any test script. We have seen that in the diagram itself. Data layer takes care of data generation, default value setting, and provides interface to text, CSV, XLDB sources. Object layer is a reusable component, interacts with the AUT and generates a test log. We are going to see the test log structure. Then reusable components. What are my reusable components from the framework? How I can reduce my time for automating my next application? That's the question here. So application specific reusable component, test steps, page scripts, data layer, and object layer. Test steps, page script, data layer, and object layer. That is test script layer. This is completely reusable, and it can grow based on the needs, and maintenance also becomes simple. And page script, for any maintenance needs, just go and change the object name or add the object name or remove the object name based on the application need over a period of time. And data layer is completely reusable for this particular application, for any particular application need, as well as object layer is also completely reusable for this particular application need, whatever application we automate. Now, what is my reusable components at the framework level, so that I can reuse them without any changes directly and couple it with the next automation or developing the next automation framework for automating another application. See, data layer and object layer are completely reusable. What is the data layer and object layer? Data layer for generating random data, text, CSV, and random data generation, default value settings. This model is completely reusable and be coupled with next for automating another application. Object layer interacts with the application that's hosting through a reusable components like with push button click, radio button click, set text, completely reusable. So this area, the test script layer and page script layer are specific to the application, because we implement the manual test cases here, so it has to be specific. But within this application, it can grow. Maintenance becomes very simple. You just whatever changes you need, just go and change it in the appropriate place. Suppose I automated 3 scenarios. Now I want to automate 4th scenario. You have got the complete test steps here. You just build scenario 4 using the existing method, or if you want any other model, new model, you just add it within the test scenario and reuse the complete test steps. Okay, that is this indicates reusability. So, for example, if you are adding another scenario in the application, so for example, in the page layer, some new objects are added. You just provide the implementation in the test steps for the new objects that are added. Add it to your new scenario if needed, or modify your existing scenario to address it. So, all are completely reusable. It can grow. We don't have to develop a new framework or automate new test cases. Or we don't have to write new test cases in order to automate the enhancements that are happening in the application. The existing framework can extend and grow based on the needs. So this is about the framework. I hope I have explained you in detail.